Hi everybody, welcome to Friday's yoga. Alan put up a little teaser earlier today to say we'd have some news. So we were just looking, we've been doing this now for 7 weeks. I don't think any of us thought we'd be doing it quite this long, that we'd be in lockdown this long. But we thought maybe it was time to change things up a little bit, and so we are going to change the name of what we do from lockdown yoga to love doing yoga, because I think it's way more positive, and I love doing yoga and I hope you love doing yoga as well. So Alan's been really creative and busy during the week, making a new logo and new design and all sorts of things. I hope you like it. We hope you like it. So over the weekend, you'll see things change on the page. Hopefully it'll be really smooth. You don't need to do anything. The page will just transition into love doing yoga. But if you do have any problems, I know most of you are friends with me anyway on Facebook, so you'll be able to contact me that way. But you shouldn't have any problem. It should be totally smooth. And hope to see you back again for a live class on Bank Holiday Monday. Anyway, that's enough of all of the news. I thought in advance of the Bank Holiday weekend that perhaps a lot of us will be doing gardening and DIY and things like that. So maybe it would be nice to focus on our backs and give them a nice, gentle, soothing practice so that we're all set up for the great work we're going to do over the weekend on our houses. So let's begin by lying down. Coming flat onto your back. Just getting yourself comfortable on your mat or in your space. Ideally, turning the palms upwards. Just notice what that does to your shoulder blades when you do that. Notice how it suddenly just opens the chest up and just allows a little bit more freedom of the breath. So let's just set everything aside for the next 60 minutes. This is just about you connecting your mind with your body through your breath. You have no roles, no responsibilities. Nothing to do. Nobody is judging you. This is just time to nourish your body and calm your mind. So let's just begin to draw our attention inward, starting at the base of the spine. Let's just turn our attention there. Notice how it feels, how it connects with the mat, and directing our breath into the base of our spine. Let's allow that attention to move upwards to that small of your back, just where the spine starts to dip away from the mat. Let's focus our attention here. If there's any tightness here or tension, think about breathing a nice warm breath into that area of the spine. Moving on upwards to your mid-back. Again, just noticing its connection points with the mat, how it feels. as we breathe space into our spine to allow it more expanse for movement. And moving on upwards to that part of our spine between our shoulder blades. Again, just noticing how it feels, thinking about adding length to it, adding space. And on upwards to our neck. Again, just feeling length come into our neck. Breathing into that area. Noticing any points of tension or tightness and directing our breath there. And breathing in through your nose now, into your belly, filling the belly up with air. And exhaling through the nose. And once again, inhaling. And exhaling. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Time here before we get going to say hello to Dolly and Sharon and Sheila, Tina, Nullig, Sarah Jane, Nuala, Fanula, Maria, Ruby and Anka. You're all very welcome. Lovely to have you all along this evening. And so let's begin by bending the knees, putting the feet onto the mat and just noticing how that changes your connection points with the mat when your knees are bent. And let's take 3 breaths here. And then lifting the feet up off the floor so that they are parallel with the floor. Your calves are, and your feet. And remembering here to engage the core by lifting the pelvic floor, bringing that belly button in and up, or sometimes it helps to think about almost bringing your waist inwards, in towards the center. Making sure the breathing is still nice and easy and nice flow. And hugging those knees into the chest. Taking 2 more breaths here, again noticing how that conversation that your back is having with the ground beneath you changes every time your body moves. And from here, we're going to do a double cross. So if you bend your left leg and cross your right leg over it, And if you're able to do a double, which I always struggle with, so I have to put my foot on the floor. So if you're able to do a double wrap with your legs, do. And when you're there, one cross is absolutely fine. Just allow the legs to come over to the left and your right knee on the earth. And let's open the arms out into a T shape. And you'll begin to feel that on the right side of the chest and shoulder. And turn your gaze to the right. We're going to take 3 more breaths here. Breathing into any areas of tension, tightness. Remembering to engage that core on the exhale. And moving it back to center, unraveling the legs, bringing the arms in. We're going to take that over to the other side. So this time you've got your left leg on top, having a double wrap around the right leg if you can, or a single wrap is absolutely fine. Opening those arms out into a T and allowing the legs to come over. So you're getting a nice twist and turning your gaze to that left hand. Again, just noticing, does this side feel any different to the other side? Directing your breath to wherever it's needed. And taking 2 more breaths here. And making your way back to the center as you unravel the legs. Bringing the arms down by the side, and let's just allow the legs to travel upwards as straight up as they can go. So if you need to bend your knees, if that's very hard on the hamstrings, that's fine. We want to think about having those feet flexed so the soles of the feet are pointing up at the ceiling. And from here, bringing that awareness into your spine and your back, having your shoulder blades sinking into the mat. And we're going to take 3 more breaths here. Again, remembering on that exhale to lift the pelvic floor, bring that belly button in and up, or think about pulling the waist in just on the exhale. And then allowing those feet to come down to the earth, bending the knees. And we're going to move up into a nice gentle bridge. Lifting those hips up towards the ceiling, just being aware of your feet, that they are still facing forward. It's always quite difficult when you can't actually see your feet. So just draw your attention to them and see if they feel like they're facing forward. Your knees should be about hip distance apart. They might want to go wider, so think about keeping them nice and still. And slowly, let's make our way back down to the earth. Good, and let's roll this up and down a little bit. So rolling all the way up. Think about those hips reaching up towards the ceiling. And then really slowly, almost 1 vertebrae at a time, coming back down again. And once again, lifting up into that bridge and allowing it to lower back down. And one final time as we lift up to the bridge, let's hold it here for 3 breaths. Thinking about letting those hips come up. Nice free flowing breath. And gently allowing yourself to lower down to the earth. And let's bring the the soles of those feet together and let the knees just fall away. Again, just paying attention to your spine now and its connection points with the mat. Because as we move through all of these movements, it's all little different parts of your spine doing little different things. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Listening to the sound of your breath, staying connected with it. And let's bring those knees together. And we're going to raise the feet up off the floor. So your legs or your calves, shins are parallel with the ceiling. And now we're going to raise our arms up, but we want to have our shoulder blades nice and flat on the floor. So we're not reaching our arms up. We have our arms just coming straight out of our shoulder blades. You know, a little bend in your elbow here. And then let's take 3 breaths like this. We look like little dead bugs. And then on our next exhale, we're going to just let our right hand drift down behind us. And as we inhale, bring it up. And let's switch it over to the other side. Exhaling and the left hand arm coming down behind us. And inhale as it comes up. Let's continue with those alternate arms going back and up and back and up and back and up and back and up. Good, allowing the arms to stay still here. Let's raise the right leg up and bring it down and raise the left leg up straight. And back to position. And right leg and left leg and right leg and left leg. And let's see, can we do the right leg up and the left arm back? And straightening them. And switching over to the other side. And coming to stillness with those arms in the air, let's just open those knees out. If you're able to hold on to the outside edge of your feet into a happy baby, do. If you find that challenging, you can just hold on to the backs of your thighs, wherever your legs are. And just allow those legs to move around and listen to what your body is suggesting you do here. To just loosen out the legs and the spine. coming to stillness, let's allow those legs to come straight up in front of us again. But this time with the legs together and the feet flexed. So the soles of the feet are looking straight up at the ceiling, keeping those shoulder blades sinking back into the mat. Two more breaths. And then bending the knees, allowing the feet to come down to the earth. Let's just roll over onto our bellies and come to lie on our bellies. And as we're lying here, we're going to bring our arms all the way out in front of us, the forehead onto the mat, the feet behind us, and let's think about expanding that spine, about breathing into it, finding space, opening up the vertebrae. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then bringing the hands in beside the chest. We're going to just push up onto all fours just for a minute. We're going to bring that right knee up to the right wrist. Move that right foot across and allow that left leg to come back as we come into a nice long pigeon pose. And from here you can rest on your forearms, or if you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can bring your forehead to the earth. Think about directing your breath into any areas of tightness, tension. And we'll take 5 more breaths here. As you're exhaling, remembering to lift that pelvic floor, bring the belly button in and up. And 1 more breath. And let's make our way back up onto all fours as we switch it over to the other side. So the left knee coming up to the left wrist, stepping back with that right leg and making your way all the way down. Staying connected with the breath, listening to the sound of your breathing. Allowing the tongue to rest just behind the upper teeth. Keeping the jaw relaxed. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then just bringing those forearms back, let's allow that left leg to make its way to the back so it's out straight. We're going to just have this little Sphinx pose here, looking forward, So we're having a nice gentle back bend to start with. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And lowering the forehead down to the earth. Let's bring these hands all the way back down by our sides. And on our next inhale, we're going to just lift our chest and head up off the floor, but keep the gaze on that mat in front of you, so your spine stays nice and straight. And coming all the way down. At least the top of your spine stays straight, because obviously you're bending in the lower back here, but you want to think about engaging that core and using that core to help you lift up. And making your way all the way down again. Let's do that 3 more times. So as you inhale, lifting up. And as you exhale, lowering down. And again, on the inhale, lifting up. And on the exhale, lowering down 1 more time. Inhaling to come up. And exhaling all the way down. Good. Bringing those hands up beside your chest, elbows back. And we're going to just push all the way up and all the way back into a child's pose. Bringing the arms behind us here. And on our next inhale, we're going to rise up onto our knees and bring the arms all the way up. So really starting to find space in the spine here as we open up. And we're going to come back to the child's pose with our arms behind us. And coming all the way up with the arms, up with the gaze. And all the way back. So you might want to have your legs just a little bit apart. So usually in child's pose your legs will be together, but it's a little bit easier if you have your legs just a tiny bit apart. And coming all the way up. And back into a child's pose. And let's do that 3 more times. And meeting back in your child's pose. Taking 2 breaths here. And then coming up to kneel. So just see how you are with kneeling. If kneeling is very uncomfortable for you, if you can't come down or if your feet are up, so if you find this hard, you can sit in any position. So you can be cross-legged or just with your legs out straight in front of you. Whatever works for you. We're going to do a little bit of shoulder work here. So let's bring our right hand in front of us in the center. And with our left hand, we're going to wrap it underneath. Bring it all the way around so our palms are touching. So let me show you a side view here. So it doesn't matter if you can't get it all the way around, okay? So you might be here or you might be here. Wherever you are, that's absolutely fine. What you're aiming to do is to begin to lift the elbows away from the chest, because as you lift the elbows away, that brings the stretch into the shoulders. And once you lift the elbows away, think about moving the palms away from the forehead, just so we're getting a really nice stretch in the shoulders. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Again, as we exhale, remembering, lift that pelvic floor Bring the waist into the center. Listening to the sound of that breath, staying connected with it. And let's unravel the arms, give the shoulders a little bit of a shrug. Start dancing. And let's bring the left arm to the center. And bring the right arm under this time. So we get to do this stretch on the other side. Keeping those elbows up and away from the chest, thinking about moving the palms away from the forehead. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Good, just 1 more breath. And unraveling the arms and give those shoulders a shrug. I'm going to turn my back to you for this next one just so you can see what we're doing. So we just want to bring our arms into a reverse prayer here. So this really opens up the chest and gives your chest and shoulders a nice stretch in the opposite direction. And let's take 5 breaths like this. Really connecting with your breath and feeling as you inhale that you're finding that little space, that little openness of the spine. And as you exhale, you're, I suppose, becoming comfortable with that, easing into that extra space, making it your home. And bringing the arms out and open. And we're going to come into a nice puppy dog pose. So this is a great pose for the back. And it's also a great way to get to really understand the downward dog that we spend so much time in. So we're going to start off on all fours. Have your hips over your knees so they're nice and straight. You're going to keep them there as you come down onto your forearms. Keeping those hips over the knees, start to stretch out those hands. And if you can, begin to lower your forehead to the floor, still keeping those hips over the knees. And begin to feel that lovely length in the spine. So this is so good to get that space in the spine and to really feel the length and have a really nice open spine. Taking 3 more breaths here. And then bringing those forehands onto the ground, walking them back and coming up onto all fours once again. With your fingers open nice and wide, your feet straight out behind you. You shouldn't be able to see them behind you. And your legs hip distance apart. And we're going to do a couple of threading the needles. So taking that right arm, let's reach it up tall. And let's feed it through our arm all the way through, bringing your shoulder onto the ground, your right shoulder onto the ground. And let's bring it all the way up again. And feed it through. And once again, bringing it all the way up. And feeding it through, and let's hold it here for 3 breaths. And making your way back to all fours. Let's take that to the other side. So reaching that arm up, following it with your gaze, and threading that left arm through to bring your shoulder to the floor. And reaching up again. And let's thread it through. And one more time, reaching it up. And threading it through. Let's stay here for 3 breaths. And making your way back to all fours. Let's open those knees out nice and wide, bringing the feet together, knees out wide, push those hips back, and putting one fist on top of the other, bringing your forehead onto your fists. Again, just feeling the space in the spine, allowing it to open out. And making your way back up, coming on to all fours, and we're going to take a puppy dog pose once again. So allowing those arms to stretch out nice and long, forehead onto the floor, and really feeling that nice stretch in the spine without the stretch in the hamstrings. I think that's what makes this such a nice pose. Still remembering as you exhale to lift the pelvic floor and bring that belly button in and up. One more breath here. And then allowing those elbows and forearms to come to the earth, making your way all the way up to sit back on your heels and think about sitting up really tall, opening the chest, keeping that spine nice and straight, head over heart, heart over hips. Taking 2 more breaths here. If you have a book or a block or anything, you might want to use it for this next one. If you don't, that's not a problem. You're going to open your legs out a little bit, so just a bit wider than hip distance. You might need to move your calves out of the way as you come to sit down in the middle with your legs outside. You might find that quite hard on your knees, and if you do, don't do the pose. Two more breaths here. And coming back up, bringing those legs together. We're going to come to sit with our legs straight out in front of us, toes pointing up to the ceiling, bringing your hands down either side and sitting up really tall. Again, remembering keeping that head over the heart over the hips. Nice straight spine. Good, 2 more breaths here. And then let's reach the arms up really tall. We're going to bend the knees a little bit, coming onto your heels. And let's begin to come forward into a nice forward fold. Remembering we're leading with the chest rather than the head. Good, and if you can reach your feet, do. If you can't, that's no problem. Just have your hands coming forward. If you feel that you'd like a little bit more, you can begin to straighten those legs out and keep reaching forward with the chest. So it's the chest coming towards the thighs that we want. Sometimes we let our head lead and then look what happens. Everything rounds and we think we're doing great, but actually we're not. We're not being true to our spine. So it's the chest coming to the thighs we want. And 2 more breaths here. And let's make our way back up again. And I'll just turn to the front. If you want a block or a book to sit on, do. We're going to just have our right foot in and lifting that left leg up. We're going to just hold it like a little baby. Oh, cradle the baby pose it's called. Can just see it now. Using it a bottle. But gently moving it. Just feel what that's doing to your hip. Keeping the shoulders over the hips, sitting up nice and tall. Good. And allowing that foot to come to the earth. Let's just swap it over to the other side. And again, just gently rocking it like you would a baby. And feel what that's doing to your hip. Keeping those shoulders over the hips. And allowing the foot to come to the floor as we sit up nice and tall. Let's take that left hand down beside us and reach that right hand up over our head, finding a nice open rib cage on the right hand side, but still not allowing the left side to collapse. And as we inhale, let's think about finding that length in the spine, and as we exhale, going that little bit deeper into the bend. Keeping the chest nice and open. One more breath here. Now let's make our way up straight and take it over to the other side. Remembering as you inhale, think about finding that length. And as you exhale, going a little bit deeper. And coming up to straightness. We're going to take a twist, but before we do, whatever leg is in front, so in my case, if my right leg is in front, we're just going to swap it over, because we always tend to sit the same way. So it's good to mix it up a little bit. So let's take this left hand and bring it behind us, taking the right hand onto the thigh, and we're going to twist so we bring our chest towards the back wall. And remembering we're leading with our chest rather than our head, so our head can go far further, but that's not what we're trying to do. We want the chest to turn. Keeping nice straightness in the spine as we inhale, finding that length, and as we exhale, trying to get another millimeter deeper in that twist. And one more breath here. And let's come back to center. And as we're back in center, let's just stay here for a moment and allow our blood to begin to flow naturally once again, because we're after twisting all of our organs, everything that's inside us, in a really good way. It's really good for the digestive system to do these gentle twists. But we have to give our body just a moment to settle. And let's take it over to the other side. Again, sitting up tall, inhaling as we find that length, and exhaling as we go slightly deeper into the twist. And 2 more breaths here. And let's come back to center and just allow it to settle, having a little shrug of the shoulders. And then let's just make our way onto the long side of the mat again and come up onto our toes. So we're just up off our heels, and see, can we find a little bit of balance here, bringing your hands into prayer, keeping that spine nice and straight. Using your breath to help you focus, to help you find stillness. Finding a little gaze point to look softly at. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And then allowing the hands to come to the floor, let's begin to make our way up to standing, and allowing the arms to come all the way up, clasping them together as we stand up really tall here. Really allowing all of that space that we've created in our spine to open up. Keeping the equal weight on all 4 corners of both feet. Just take a glance down to see, are they in a nice straight line? Lifting the kneecaps to engage the quads. Remembering on the exhale to lift that pelvic floor, bring the belly button in and up. And then let's allow the arms to come out to a T shape and come forward halfway. So we've got a nice straight spine. Gazing at the mat in front of us, arms out by our side. Taking 3 breaths here.
down and making our way down into a nice forward fold. You can bend your knees as much as you need to here, and bringing your hands down onto the floor, thinking about your chest moving towards your thighs. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And as we inhale, finding that length in the spine, as we exhale, going a little bit deeper into that bend. And then bending the knees, making our way all the way up to standing, and opening our palms out to the front as we take 3 more breaths. Feeling that chest nice and open, feeling that freedom of the spine. And then let's begin to just roll forward like a rag doll. Allowing everything to come forward, knees to bend as we come all the way down and make our way down to the floor and all the way down to lying down. And it is blankie time, so feel free to go and get a blankie, or Shavasana time, whatever you like to call it. Lying out nice and flat, palms facing towards the ceiling. If you like to have your knees bent and your feet on the floor for this, of course, that's absolutely fine. But the ideal is to lie out nice and flat with those palms facing upwards. And just before we go into our final relaxation, thank you very much for joining me tonight. I hope that has set your spine up for the great work you're going to do over the weekend, and that you have a lovely weekend. And just a reminder that sometime over the weekend, gradually we will be changing the name over from Lockdown Yoga to Love Doing Yoga, which is a much nicer name, I think, much more happy. And it should be seamless. You should, it's all in the same place. The page is exactly the same. All the live practices will be on there, and all the past practices will be there as well. So everything is there. And I hope to see you all back here at 6 o'clock, live at 6 o'clock on Monday. Have a lovely May Bank Holiday weekend if you're in a country that has a May Bank Holiday weekend. And let's now take some time to allow our bodies to just absorb all of that work. Just allowing it to integrate into our muscles, into our spine, as we begin to really let go. Letting go your fingers, letting go the palms of your hands, the backs of your hands, your wrists and forearms, elbows, upper arms and armpits. Letting go your shoulders, your chest, your shoulder blades. Letting go your rib cage, front and back. Letting go your belly, the small of your back, your pelvis, hips, glutes, the whole of your torso, just letting it go. Letting go the fronts of your thighs, the backs of your thighs, your knees, shins, calves, heels, soles of your feet, tops of your feet, toes, the whole of your legs, just letting them go. Letting go the back of your head, and the crown of your head, your forehead, eyebrows, eyes, cheeks, jaws, chin, tongue, lips. Just allowing everything to let go. And taking a moment here of gratitude to your body for all it does for you, to yourself for doing this practice, to all of us for practicing together. Gratitude to all the frontline staff working so hard at the moment, and for whatever you have to be grateful for today in your life. And just turning that attention to our breath as we breathe in through our nose, into your belly and out through your nose. Nice, gentle, even rhythm. Beginning to connect with your center, with your true nature, that part of you that's always there, that makes you unique. And let's imagine we're walking through a forest on a beautiful day, feeling the earth beneath your feet, noticing the smells, coming to a nice opening where you see a little brook babbling beside you, the birds singing. Find a little space here and enjoy some time.